kind of feels a little bit like my white whale in a weird way. Like it's, it's just like, I've already talked about the fact that I really love comparative metrics. You're looking at like two pieces of data to try and understand what's happening. LTV to CAC for me is like kind of the most perfect way to measure the effectiveness of, similar to like LTV to CAC is like the perfect way to measure the effectiveness of your marketing team. Like how much are you spending and how quickly do you get that back? And then how valuable those customers. People teams are basically there to do the same thing. They're there to optimize a great hiring and acquisition strategy, which means you're finding really good quality people and bringing them in, that you're able to get them up and performing really effectively and maintain that performance as long as possible and get like a good lifetime value. But the team are, as much as we hate to say HR, like the team are resources for the company. Although they're humans, you have to treat them like humans. And the final thing is you have to do it without like bankrupting your business. Like how do you do it really cost effectively and organizationally design effectively? Things like, org design is such a hard thing to measure where you're doing a good job of it. But if you have really like flabby, ineffective org design, that's kind of a great way to really negatively impact your payback, because you're spending so much money on people to potentially get like not the best payback from them. So anyway, I find it really helpful because I think it's one of those things that if you get to a place where you can get LTV to CAC for employees or for HR teams, you would actually have such an incredible read on the effectiveness of your HR team, like as commercially as sales or marketing.
So before I forget, I feel like we need to schedule like an MPL build webinar where we only talk about ELTV to CAC. I feel like a lot of people would want to try to calculate this. I know it's not the easiest or like most perfect thing to calculate, or sorry, let me put that another way. It's not the most easiest. It's not the easiest thing to calculate, and it might not always be perfect. But I think to your point, even imperfectly, it's worth tracking. So yeah, if you guys are game, I think we should definitely do that.
Always game.
Yeah, for me, I think after I got over how different of a metric this is, and I understood conceptually what ELTV to CAC payback was capturing, I instantly became obsessed. It took a little while though, and I think with others that I've spoken with, at least, it is that there's been like a similar moment, like an aha moment, like, oh shit, that okay, that's what we're trying to capture here. And for me, it's really hard to find a apples to apples way of comparing managers or leaders like commercial effectiveness. And to me, commercial effectiveness, like we want, I don't know a lot of companies that don't want their people to be commercially effective. And that is, and what I mean by it's hard to find like an apples to apples way. The way that sales is going to be commercially effective is very different to how your client success team to your product team, et cetera, et cetera. But with this measure, I think if we can agree that, okay, in order to be commercially effective, our people